At exactly 3:17 a.m. last night, you vanished, but your body, it kept moving. You died, but no one told you, and they don't want you to remember. You were never alive yesterday. The tragedy isn't dying, it's realizing too late that you were never truly alive. What if this life you think you have isn't life at all? What if you didn't survive that car crash? What if you never came out of that surgery? What if the night you thought you almost died was the night you actually did, but your soul wasn't ready to let go? So it built something, a memory, a mirage, a life stitched together by fragments of who you used to be. Could you tell the difference? You wake up, drink water, check your phone, go to work, scroll online, smile at people, but none of it really feels like you're here, like you're in it, like you're alive. It's more like you're observing it from a distance, watching your body move, hearing your own voice speak, but feeling no fire behind your eyes. When did that emptiness become your normal? Some days you feel it stronger than others. That quiet, creeping numbness, the sense that everyone around you is playing a role, repeating lines from a script you never agreed to. You laugh because it's what you're supposed to do. You nod in conversations you barely hear. You go through motions you've done 1,000 times, and yet you whisper to yourself in those silent moments, something's wrong with all of this. Something doesn't fit. But you don't know how to explain it, not even to yourself. They tell you it's depression, burnout, mental fatigue. You believe them because that's easier than the truth, because the truth is heavier than your body can hold. What if it's not anxiety? What if it's remembrance? What if your soul is grieving something your mind forgot? What if it's the faint ache of a death you already lived through? Look closely at the patterns, the relationships that always end the same way, the jobs that drain you dry, the people who feel oddly familiar, like echoes from another version of you. You keep reliving the same failures in different disguises, different locations, same breakdown, new faces, same betrayal. You blame yourself. You call it self-sabotage. But what if it's not you? What if it's the program you're stuck in? You've heard of déjà vu, but this isn't just a moment. It's a lifetime you feel like you've already lived. Every street you walk feels like a memory. Every person you meet feels half known. Every decision feels like it's already been made. Is this life unfolding in real time? Or are you just catching up to something your soul already experienced? You think you're dreaming sometimes, waking up in the middle of the night with your heart pounding, chest tight, eyes wide, but no danger in sight. That's not a panic attack. That's your soul trying to scream, trying to break through the fog, trying to wake you up. But wake up from what? Imagine for a moment that the moment you survived that overdose, that accident, that final unspoken heartbreak, you didn't survive at all. Your body stopped, time stopped, and your consciousness was left floating in the in-between. That liminal space between death and rebirth, a forgotten hallway between two realities. And in that space, your mind created this place, this version of life, this safe room, this purgatory. Could you even tell the difference? There's a word for it. The Tibetans call it the bardo, a place the soul enters after death but before rebirth, a realm of illusion, a test. The bardo mirrors your mind, your fears, your guilt, your unfinished stories. And until you let go of who you think you are, you'll wander through this shadow world believing it's real. How do you escape a prison you don't even know you're in? The same arguments, the same apologies, the same breaking points. You call it trauma, you call it karma. But what if it's none of those things? What if it's a glitch in the script? A sign you're running the same scene over and over, trying to get it right this time. But there is no right, not until you realize this isn't real. You look in the mirror, and sometimes the face looking back doesn't feel like yours. Not in a horror movie way, in a subtle, quiet, I don't recognize this life anymore kind of way. You wear the clothes, say the words, hold the hands, but the core of you feels unplugged, unseen, unheard, and deep down, you know, you're not living this life. You're repeating it. Why does that realization scare you so much? Because if you admit it, if you let yourself feel it, you'd have to question everything. Your job, your relationships, your goals, your entire identity. And that's terrifying. But even more terrifying, living the rest of your life asleep, inside someone else's dream. Whose dream are you trapped in? You thought you were lucky. The crash didn't kill you. The suicide didn't succeed. The surgery went well. But maybe that wasn't the end of the story. Maybe that was the moment your body gave up. But your mind wouldn't accept it. So it created a new reality, an afterimage, a pocket of false time, where nothing is fully alive and nothing can truly change until you realize you don't belong here anymore. Be honest. Do you still feel like the driver of your life, or just a passenger waiting for the crash? Drop a comment. I want to know how long you felt it. Why are you still holding on? You're not broken. You're in limbo. And limbo is the most seductive place of all, because it looks like safety. It feels like second chances. It pretends to be healing, but it's just a loop, a purgatory made of memory, a world built by your fear of letting go. How many more times will you repeat this version of you? You think you're awake right now, but if this was a dream, how would you know? You touch your skin, you feel pain, you hear sound. But haven't you done that in dreams before? Haven't you screamed in dreams? Run for your life? Felt heartbreak so real you woke up crying? If illusion can feel this real, what proof do you have that this isn't one? What if the lie is deeper than you imagined? Here's the twist no one warned you about. You don't know what alive really means. We define life as movement, as choice, as breath and consequence. But fish swim in circles too. Computers simulate choice. Dreams breathe. So what if you're mistaking motion for meaning? Are you living or just reacting? The contradiction is brutal. You're convinced you're alive, but nothing around you truly responds. You pray, but the answers never come. You scream, but no one hears the depth of it. You try to change your life, but every path loops back to the same emotional dead ends. Why? Because if this is the afterlife, it isn't hell. It isn't heaven. It's a simulation of your mind. So until your mind changes, nothing else can. What part of you is still running the old code? Think about it. How many times have you almost changed? You met someone new, but they turned out the same. You moved cities, but the same darkness followed you. You started over, only to fall back into the same hole. We blame habits. We blame trauma. But maybe it's deeper than that. Maybe this world is a mirror, and no matter where you go, you'll only see the face you refuse to look at. What part of yourself are you still hiding from? Here's a truth that bends the spine. Maybe you never really escaped that trauma. Maybe you died in it. Not physically, spiritually. And this you right now is the ghost that version left behind. A remnant, a reflection, trying to resolve a wound that never got closure. So this life you're living, it's not forward movement, it's backward processing. What if everything you think is progress is just grief in disguise? That moment you thought you almost lost everything? Maybe you did. And this is the grief space your mind created to make peace with what it lost. You fill it with distractions, with goals, with routines. But underneath it all, you feel it. The quiet weight, the suspended time, the spiritual amnesia. You've forgotten something, but your soul hasn't. What happens when the body forgets but the soul remembers? What lie have you been living just to feel safe? Tell me in the comments, or just type, "I'm done hiding." I'll know what you mean. And here's where the stakes rise. Because if this really is a mental afterlife, if you're trapped in your own internal purgatory, then every decision you make either moves you closer to awakening or deeper into illusion. This isn't just about feeling better. This is about freedom, about whether you'll spend another lifetime sleepwalking through a world that isn't even real. What happens if you never wake up? People chase dreams like they'll lead to fulfillment. But have you noticed? No matter how much you achieve, there's always something missing. You reach the goal and still feel hollow. You win the prize and still feel unseen. You fall in love and still feel alone. That's not a mindset problem. That's a dimensional error. You're trying to feel alive inside a dream designed to reflect your fears. So nothing fills you, because the world around you is made of your own emptiness. What if your life is just the shape of your pain? And here's the part that hurts most. You built this, every part of it. The people, the triggers, the routines, the pain. You built this because your soul needed a mirror, something to confront you with your deepest shame, your oldest guilt, your buried truths, and now you're stuck in it. Not because you're being punished, but because you're avoiding the lesson. What will it take to finally learn it? Let's talk about time. You think it's moving forward, but have you noticed how warped it feels lately? Days blur, weeks disappear, memories feel like they happened to someone else. And the future feels fake, unreachable, foggy, because time here isn't real. It's elastic, it's emotional, it stretches or collapses depending on how awake you are. Are you living in a timeline or a trauma loop? Here's what happens when you don't awaken. The loop tightens. The people around you become more triggering. The signs get louder. The outcomes get heavier. It's not because life is getting worse. It's because your soul is suffocating, screaming through synchronicities, through dreams, through that quiet voice at 3 a.m. that says, "This isn't all there is. You're meant for more, but not in this world." How long will you ignore that voice? People talk about the Matrix like it's science fiction, but deep down you felt it. The invisible grid, the patterns that don't make sense, the weird coincidences, the numbers that keep following you. Every time you're about to wake up, something pulls you back. A sudden distraction, an emergency, a craving. That's not bad luck. That's the simulation rewriting your script. But who's writing it? You've heard of people who died and came back, near-death experiences, out-of-body events, clinical death followed by revival. They say they floated above their bodies, saw the doctors, heard the nurses, felt unconditional love, then snapped back. But they all say the same thing afterward. This world doesn't feel the same anymore. Could that be because once you've tasted truth, everything false becomes unbearable? How much of your life is still built on lies? Some of them report life reviews, moments where their entire existence replayed in seconds. But here's the twist. They didn't just see what they did, they felt what others felt. The pain they caused, the joy they brought, the ripple effect of every choice. And then they woke up and nothing felt real anymore. What if you already had your review, but your memory got wiped? Why does everything feel like a rerun? If your life is a story, what chapter are you in right now? Drop a number in the comments, 1 for the beginning, 10 if you're near the end. Let's see who else is in the same place. Here's where it gets disturbing. Some near-death experiencers say they were given a choice. Do you want to go back? And many said no, they didn't want to return, but something forced them. Or worse, they were told they hadn't completed their mission, but no one ever tells them what that mission is. So they wander through life haunted by the feeling that they've forgotten something critical. What if you're living under that same unspoken mission right now? And what if the clock is ticking? We crave virality, but why? Because going viral is the closest thing to waking up this simulation allows. A moment where everyone's watching, where time bends, where the algorithm chooses you. But what if that craving is actually spiritual? What if what you really want is to be seen, not by the internet, not by followers, but by the real you, the soul behind the mask, the version of you that still remembers the truth? Why are you chasing views when your soul is chasing vision? TikTok made the backrooms famous. Yellow hallways, infinite doors, flickering lights, a space between realities, a place where you don't belong, but can't escape from. It was supposed to be fiction, but deep down, didn't it feel real? Didn't it mirror that deep, creeping anxiety that you're stuck somewhere you shouldn't be? What if the reason those liminal horror trends go viral is because our subconscious already knows? We're already there, already wandering the hallways of our forgotten selves. Where do your doors lead? People talk about NPCs, non-player characters. They laugh at the idea, mock the concept. But haven't you met people who feel hollow? They speak in scripts, react predictably, glaze over when you ask real questions, not because they're dumb, but because they're not awake yet. They're echoes, background code. And if you're honest, sometimes you feel like one too. What if you are? You scroll every day. You consume constant noise. But every once in a while, something grabs you. A sentence, a scene, a quote. It pierces you, freezes time. You stare at the screen, breathing differently. That's not just content. That's a glitch. A moment when the veil wobbled, when something real broke through, and your soul recognized it. How many of those moments have you ignored? The algorithm is spiritual. It knows what you're afraid of, what you crave, what will hook your attention. Because it is you. It's trained on your shadow. It feeds on your subconscious patterns. So every time it shows you another sad story, another trauma dump, another seductive escape fantasy, it's not just manipulating you, it's mirroring you. What if your feed is your soul's unfinished business? You're waiting for something, but you can't name it. It's not money, not love, not success. It's that moment you think will finally make sense of everything. That signal that tells you, yes, you're on the right path now. Yes, you're awake. But here's the twist. That moment won't come from outside, because it's already here. You just haven't remembered it yet. What if remembering is the real resurrection? Maybe you've been asking the wrong question all along. It's not, what if I'm already dead? It's, what part of me is still trying to live? That fragment, that flicker, that quiet ache beneath your chest, the one that watches your life from a distance, the one that whispers, this isn't it, there's more. That part, that's not your imagination. That's your soul, trying to come home. What part of you refuses to die, no matter how hard life tried to bury it? Write it down below, say it out loud, name it, and claim it. If this video reached you, it wasn't by accident. Maybe your soul sent you here. Maybe you're not lost, just remembering. And maybe, just maybe, this is your first step out of the dream. I make these videos for people who feel too much, think too deep, and wonder what the hell this life really is. If that's you, you've just found your home. Hit subscribe, but not just for the algorithm. Do it to stay awake. Do it to walk this strange path with others who see through the veil, because the next video might be the one that fully wakes you up.